My dear friends, why are you exhausting yourself endlessly explaining to people who never truly listen? Why are you spending your breath trying to convince them of your worth when your worth was never theirs to decide? Listen to me carefully tonight. Stop explaining yourself and start recreating yourself. The moment you turn within, the moment you assume the feeling of already being the one you desire to be, you step out of begging for validation and step into the power that commands worlds. The outer world is not waiting for your explanations. It is waiting for your assumption. It mirrors your inner state faithfully, without excuse, without compromise. So instead of explaining, begin imagining. Instead of defending, begin assuming. For the world will not argue with your assumption. It will bow before it. My dear friend, you have tried long enough to explain yourself to others. You have explained why you are hurt. You have explained why you deserve better. You have explained why they should love you, why they should understand you, why they should treat you differently. And yet, the more you explain, the more powerless you feel. Why? Because the world outside of you is not moved by explanations. It is moved by states. When I speak of states, I am speaking of inner positions of consciousness, the role you occupy in imagination. You are always in a state. At this very moment, as you sit and listen to my words, you are clothed in some state, perhaps a state of rejection, perhaps a state of being misunderstood, perhaps a state of exhaustion. But let me assure you, these are only garments, and garments can be taken off. You are not what you explain. You are not even what others see. You are only ever what you accept as true of yourself, in imagination. The tragedy of life is not that others misunderstand us. It is that we misunderstand ourselves. We spend years trying to explain to others what we have never assumed for ourselves. You want to be loved? Then stop explaining why you deserve love and assume that you are already loved. You want to be respected? Stop begging for respect in words and assume yourself already respected. You want to be chosen? Stop defending why you should be and clothe yourself in the state of being chosen now. No man needs to know why you imagine. No man needs to understand your inner act. You owe the world no explanation, because the world is not your master. It is your mirror. The law of assumption at work. Let me give you an example. A woman once came to me, broken and exhausted. She said, "Neville, I have explained to him 100 times that I love him. I have explained that I am faithful, that I am loyal, that I would never hurt him, and still he doubts me. Still, he treats me as if I were nothing." And I said to her, "My dear, you are wasting your words. The world does not hear what you explain. The world hears only what you are in imagination. If you are explaining faithfulness, it is because you secretly doubt that you are seen as faithful. If you are explaining love, it is because you secretly doubt you are loved. Stop explaining and assume the state. Clothe yourself in the knowing that you are already cherished, already trusted, already loved beyond measure. Then the outer world will conform." She took my words to heart. Instead of long arguments and desperate conversations, she began to sit quietly each night before sleep and imagine herself embraced, trusted, secure. Within weeks, the man who had doubted her began to treat her with the deepest tenderness, not because she convinced him, but because she recreated herself. Explaining belongs to the old self. Explanations are the language of the old self. Creation is the language of the new. When you explain, you are saying, "I am not that yet, but I want you to understand me." When you imagine, you are saying, "I am already that, and the world will see it soon enough." The Bible tells us, "Let the weak say, I am strong." Notice it does not say, "Let the weak explain why they are weak or why they should become strong." It says simply, "Let the weak say, I am strong." That is the language of assumption. That is the power of recreation. So tonight I invite you to stop explaining. Every time you feel the urge to justify, to argue, to plead, turn inward instead. In silence, assume the state. In stillness, put on the garment of the self you long to be. The inner audience. Do you know who your real audience is? Not the people out there who misunderstand you. Your real audience is God, dwelling within you. God, your own wonderful human imagination, listens not to explanations but to assumptions. When you sit in the stillness of your room and assume the feeling of already being loved, already being chosen, already being valued. That inner audience, which is God, accepts it as true, and the outer world must echo it. So the next time you are tempted to defend yourself, remember this: the only defense is assumption. The only explanation you ever need is creation itself. Practical steps: catch the urge to explain. The moment you feel yourself trying to convince someone of your worth, stop. Recognize. This is the old self demanding validation. Withdraw within. Close your eyes for just a minute. Detach from the outer scene. Clothe yourself in the new state. Ask, if I were already loved, respected, chosen, what would I feel right now? Then feel it. Let that sensation flood you. Rest in the assumption. Fall asleep each night in the consciousness of being the one you desire to be. Remain faithful. The outer world may delay, but it must reflect the inner state. Do not waver. A personal story. Years ago, I too longed for people to understand me. I tried to explain the law. I tried to explain imagination, and I met only resistance. But I learned, painfully, that explanation is not transformation. So I stopped explaining and began creating. I assumed that those who needed this truth would hear it. I assumed that hearts would open, that minds would awaken. And today, thousands gather to listen, not because I explained, but because I imagined. You see, my friend, the world does not want your words. It wants your state. It bends not to your arguments, but to your assumption. Stop begging. Start becoming. There is a kind of dignity, a quiet majesty, that comes when a man or woman stops explaining. You will feel it the moment you stop defending yourself and simply assume yourself to be what you desire. It is the majesty of one who knows, I am. And in that majesty, the world cannot help but bow. Do not beg them to see your worth. Become the one who is worthy in imagination now. Do not plead for them to stay. Become the one who is already secure in love. Do not argue for your place. Take it in consciousness this very moment. For once you do, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself in harmony with your assumption. Oh, tonight, my dear, I leave you with this. Stop explaining yourself. Start recreating yourself. Every tear you have shed in trying to convince another of your worth was wasted breath. But not one moment of imagination is ever wasted. Creation is silent, but it is powerful. It does not argue, it decrees. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and let the world catch up. Do not explain how it will happen or why you deserve it. Simply claim it within, and creation itself will justify you. For in the end, you are not here to be understood. You are here to create.